Welcome to A Leader's Journey, the podcast for leaders who deeply believe there is a better way to lead and desire to create their unique journey towards becoming a legacy leader. I'm your host, Shannon Hammond. Over the last 20 years as a corporate leader and leadership performance coach, I've learned that many leaders believe there is a predefined path they have to follow and struggle leaning into their unique gifts that will create lasting impact and fulfillment. They end up feeling stuck, unhappy, and unfulfilled in the day-to-day of their role, and are challenged with why, since they have experienced success in their career and in life. I'm here to help leaders think through their leadership journey, learn how to ask themselves better questions, and learn the formula to create their leadership journey by design. If you are ready to design your unique leadership journey, lead with confidence, and love the teams you lead, then you are in the right place. Let's do this. Hey friends, I'm happy to have you here with me this week on the podcast. Today I wanted to dive into a topic that comes up all the time when I'm working with my clients and my employees in my corporate job. And I wanted to share with you a tool that I use with them. And it's something that I've been using for myself for about the last 10 years or so. One of the questions that comes up all the time is regarding what is the next move that somebody should make in their career, or what's the next promotion that they should be seeking, or how is it that someone will know or determine which roles really are the best for them? A lot of individuals ask how they can know for sure if they're going to like a job or a role when they get into it. And how can they decide really which role is the next role that they really need to be or want to be applying for? This is something that comes up a lot when I am creating career development plans, especially when I ask someone where it is that they see themselves in the next 5 years. I found that a lot of people have not been asked that question, and they haven't really taken the time to contemplate what it is that they truly do desire to achieve professionally over the course of the next 5 years. In working with individuals and leaders at all stages in their career, whether they are just getting started or they've been in the workforce for 5, 10, or 20 years, many still don't know what they want and they don't have that clarity. And I found that getting that clarity really is critical for you to truly enjoy what it is that you are doing. Many individuals know that they want more out of their career, but they don't really know what that means, what it feels like, what it looks like, or they know that they want to do something different, but they are distracted and pulled by shiny object syndrome, and they can't decide what it is that they want. I found that some just apply for jobs that they think looks good based on the job description, and they're kind of throwing the proverbial spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks and seeing what comes up, and then they'll figure out how it is that they're going to enjoy it once they get in the role. And let's be honest, that doesn't work. And many people find that they are very unfulfilled, or they get discouraged because maybe they're not getting the role that they applied for. And a lot of that has to do with the energy it is that they are bringing into that interview, that the interviewer can tell that they're really not committed, or that they might not really want this role, that they just think that maybe it's the next thing that they should apply for, or that they just wanted to try it and kind of see what happens. So I did some math, and I found something that was very interesting. When you think about the number of hours that are in your work week and you divide that up into the different responsibilities it is that you have, if you're working a 40-hour work week, and I recognize that many people work more than 40 hours, whether by choice, whether it's just a part of their job, or potentially they're an entrepreneur. And let's just be honest, sometimes there are weeks that an entrepreneur is going to work more than 40 hours. If you're working let's just go with 40 for an easy math equation's sake. If you're working 40 hours a week, that's 24% of your entire week that you're spending at work. That doesn't include your commute. That doesn't include a lunch hour. That's just the actual 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, giving you 40 hours for the week. If you sleep 8 hours every single night, and again, I recognize that not everybody sleeps 8 hours every single night, but let's just say on average you do get 8 hours every night for 7 nights a week. That's 33% of your total week. So when you take those two and you add them together, 57% of your week is spent on those activities. And that should show you how important enjoying what it is that you're doing at work is to your overall well-being and happiness, because you're only spending an extra 7% sleeping in your week than you are working in your week. So I want to share with you a tool that I use with my team that really helps them get clear on what it is that they want out of their career and what could potentially be the next right role for them, or maybe a future role down the road. When they're going through this exercise, it's helping guide them in choosing the roles that they really will enjoy and roles that they will learn the skills that they need to in order to continue to grow within their career journey. And when they're clear on that and they find that role that they really enjoy, that gives them that extra motivation and desire to want to get up every morning, go to work, and be excited about what it is that they are doing. So this tool is something that I have developed over the course of the last 10 years or so. And like I said before, it's something that I started doing for myself when I was in a place of deciding what is next for me and what is it that I really wanted out of my career. And it's just a career clarity tool. And it's something that's really easy, that you don't need anything special. So there isn't a book or anything else that you're going to need with it. So what I ask individuals to do is just take out a plain piece of paper or a notebook paper, or if you want to do it digitally, you can set this up in an Excel spreadsheet, a Word doc, whatever tool, however you choose to want to set it up. And what I ask them to do is to divide that piece of paper into 3 individual columns. And in those 3 columns, they're going to put 3 different things. On the far left-hand side, I ask them to define what are their must-haves within their work or within a role. These are the things that truly light them up, that they are deeply passionate about. And when they look back on either the role that they're sitting in today or prior roles that they've had, I ask them to really think about the things of what is it that you were doing that you felt you did with ease and enjoyment. And both of those aspects have to be there, right? Again, these are the things that must be there in order for you to truly enjoy that particular role. On the far right-hand side, I ask them to list their must not haves. So, what are the things that they have done previously or that they know in order to achieve the life and the career that they want? These are the things that cannot be a part of that role. And because those are the things that they know they're not going to enjoy at all, or that it is not going to give them the harmony between their work and their life and serve the personal things that they're doing if this was an aspect of that role in their work. In the middle, I have them do something a little bit different. So in the middle column, I have them split that column horizontally down the middle. And this is what I call neutral ground. And at the top part of that neutral ground, I have them list those things that they have experience in. So these are the things that they've done before, or that they know are going to be a part of something that they're going to want to do in the future. And they just don't feel very strongly one way or another about it. It's not something that they're passionate about that they absolutely have to do. And it's not something that they absolutely do not want to do in any way. Again, this is kind of neutral ground, right? So at the top, again, those are the things that they've experienced or that they have done before. In the bottom half of that middle column, I have them also list then the things that they haven't experienced yet, that again, they haven't decided for themselves one way or another how it is that they feel about it. So again, they still feel neutral, but it's not something that they've actually done. And the reason why I have them split that middle column into two different things is that there are going to be things that are going to come up that you either accept are part of the role, or and you maybe have done them before and you know that you don't feel passionately one way or another. And again, there are going to be things that you haven't yet done, so you haven't made that decision. I find that it's very important to write both of those things down because when you look at that middle column, and especially the bottom part of the things that you haven't experienced yet, you can make some good decisions about how can I get experience with this particular task or skill or knowledge in the role that I am in today. And that way you can decide, is it something that you're going to move into one of the other places on the sheet, right? If you get experience in it and you recognize that it's something that truly fires you up and that you're excited about doing, you might take it from that bottom middle and you might move that to the far left-hand side of your paper. Or you might get experience in it and recognize there is no way that I want this to fill up the bulk of another role that I have, or it absolutely can't be a part of it at all. And you're going to move it from the bottom middle to the right-hand side of your paper. And this is an exercise that when I coach my clients in working through this, I let them know that it's really important to write down every single thing that comes up for them and to not think too hard. I do think it's important that you contemplate it and that you make decisions that are good for you, but don't get hung up and stuck on, oh my God, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know which column it goes in. Trust in your gut and put it down somewhere because this is going to be an evolving document for you or an evolving tool that you're going to carry with you as it is that you move throughout your career, right? So when I look at mine, it has things that are scratched out. There are times when I've just completely redid it because I had moved things around a lot and, maybe things in my life had changed and what was important to me in my career before is no longer something that is as important or something that I am willing to spend a significant amount of time on. And so it's evolved with me as I have grown. And so this is something that for you, it will evolve as you get more experience and you get more clear and you continue to do the work on yourself. You're going to find that you go back to this tool quite often and you might make changes, whether that's adding something, taking it off, moving it to a different column, whatever it is that comes up, you're going to continue to use this as a working document that you keep with you. I've also found that when you filled this out and you have a good idea of what it is that is on your list that's for you, when you're starting to look at other roles within your organization or outside of your organization, you can check back in and look at your must-haves and your must-not-haves and your items that are neutral and see how that role, based on the information that you know, lines up with what it is that you are looking for. And that will help you decide, is this something that I should apply for and continue to pursue? Is this something that I have some work to do because I really think that I like this role or aspects of this role, but I need to get some more experience, or there's a new skill that I need to learn before I'm ready to apply. Or you might decide in looking at that role that this is not the right role for you because too much of that role, or maybe some critical aspects of that role, are very high on your must not have list. So I want to share an example with you of just a couple things that I know I have on my career clarity tool. So that way, when I'm looking at other roles, I check in with that and I can determine whether or not that is a role that is right for me. So, one of the things that's on my must have in a role that I'm looking for is I have to be in a position where I get to spend a lot of my time coaching and developing individuals and leaders. That is something that I am very passionate about. I have been for a long time, and I know that if I'm in a role where I'm not being able to coach or develop others, I'm not going to be happy and fulfilled with the work it is that I'm doing. On my must not have list is significant amount of travel. So if a role is going to require me to overnight travel more than 3 times within the year on a consistent basis, that is a role that is not right for me. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't travel locally where maybe I'm going to drive a couple hours to a meeting and then have to come back. What I'm looking for when I think about travel is that overnight stay. Where is it that I'm going to have to get on a plane, pack a suitcase, stay in a hotel, and then have to come back home? Whether it's 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, 5 nights, the number of nights for me doesn't matter. But it's that travel that requires me to get in an airplane and have an overnight stay somewhere. I am at a place in my life where that is one of those items that moved from that neutral and the things that I've experienced over to my must not haves. You know, 10 to 12 years ago, I didn't mind traveling all the time. I traveled about once a month in the role that I was previously in. And I didn't really feel one way or another about it. If they needed me to travel, I traveled. If they didn't, then I didn't. But it wasn't something that I really had strong feelings about either way. And then things shifted in my life. I got married, I changed jobs, and I found that now having my husband at home, I didn't want to be gone all the time. Traveling a week out of every month was not going to align with the goals that we had set for our marriage or for our life or our future together. And I found that as I got older in life too, I liked being at home and I like being able to sleep in my own bed every night. I will travel for work. I do right now. It's usually about 2 to 4 times a year, and that seems to work well for me. But if I was to be offered a role or I was to look at a role and they were going to ask for me to travel on a pretty consistent basis, that was going to be a no for me. And I have not explored roles recently where the work itself aligned with the things that I really wanted to do, but there was that aspect of travel, and it was going to have me gone 7 to 12 days out of every single month. And I did not apply for the role because, again, it wasn't going to align with the goals and the things that I wanted in my life. That neutral column for me, um, under the things that I've experienced that I feel pretty neutral about, one of those things for me is the employee disciplinary process. I really don't like it. However, I accept that as I lead people, that is something that is going to come up. You are going to find yourself where there's an employee who is not performing in their role. You've coached them to the best of your ability and given them opportunities to change their behaviors, but you're not seeing the progress. And you might have to partner with your corporate HR department, and you're now going to have to move through the disciplinary process. It's not something that I really enjoy doing, but I don't have it on my must not have list because I know that being in a people leader role is something that I really desire. And that is an aspect of that role that you are not going to be able to avoid. So if when you're filling out your sheet, if you don't ever want to have to write somebody up or terminate them, I'm going to tell you now, a people leader role is not for you. If that's on your must have, you need to stay away from roles where you have other people that are reporting directly to you, because that is something that in a corporate setting you are going to find hard to avoid. It may not come up for years, and I will tell you, I haven't had to do it in a long time, but it does come up, and it's something that you have to understand is going to be part of that role. Now, when it's the things that I haven't experienced that I feel neutral about, when I look at that, you know, there are a couple different things that I know that I have on that list for me, and that list for me is getting a little bit shorter. I am 25 years into my career, and so some of the things that I had on there previously have come off, or have moved to different aspects of my chart. So that list for me, it's getting smaller. Some of the things that I have listed there for me is working in a technology role. I haven't really been in a role where I had primary responsibility for technology. So, like a data analyst role or an IT type of role, that is not something that I have done. I've dabbled in pieces of it in my other roles, but it's not been something that I have actually been responsible for. So, for me, that's something I feel a little bit neutral about because I haven't really experienced being in that seat. There's a piece of me that says it's probably going to lean a little bit more towards my must not haves because I'm not a techie tech person. But again, it's something that I haven't done, so I can't for sure say that. Another aspect that I have in that things I have not yet experienced is working for organizations that take extended time off. And when I'm talking about extended time off, I'm talking about they shut down for weeks out of every single year. Or if you work for an organization that might be outside of the US, in some cultures, it is common practice where employees take an entire month off for a holiday. That is something that I haven't done yet. Now, there's something in the me that says, well, who wouldn't desire to have a month off? Of course, you're going to like that. But that's not something that I know, and it's something that I haven't yet experienced. And as I learn more about myself, I do like to work. And so I'm not sure how I'm going to feel yet in a role or in an environment where there is extended periods of time off. And for me, I've defined extended as 3 weeks or more. And so it's what does that look like? Now, that is an item that 10 years ago wasn't even a thought for me, and it never made it onto my list. But again, as I get older in life and I get more um, tenured within my career, it's something that I need to start thinking about as I start thinking about what does retirement actually look like for me? And is retiring in what we define in the traditional sense of you're not working anymore, is that what really is the right fit for me? And that's something that I just don't know yet because again, I haven't experienced it. I have been fortunate enough that since I took my first job at 14, I have always had a job. So I have never been out of work. And the longest period of time that I have taken off was 2 weeks in a row. And while I very much enjoyed having that 2 weeks off, I know that that transition back into work at that point in time was very much a challenge for me. Now my career has changed, I have changed, and so would that still be a challenge today? I don't know. But that's something that I want to be mindful of and something that I need to think through again as I start preparing for what does the next stage of my life look like? Do I want to retire at 65? Over the course of the next several years, is that something that I need to try? And do I need to try to take 3 weeks off and see how that works for me? I don't know yet. Those are questions that I still have to answer, but it's something that I want to put on my list because it's something that I want to keep at the forefront of knowing at some point in my life I may have to answer that question. And I want to make sure that as I'm looking ahead and I'm looking for the experiences that are going to come up for me, I want to keep that in mind and say, is this an aspect of that? Because if so, it might be something that I do want to try and see how that works. So I hope that giving you some examples helps you and when you sit down and you do this exercise for yourself. And if it's not something that you have done, I encourage you start small and just think about today, what does your gut tell you? And start writing some things down for you. And if you need to walk away from it, walk away and come back. This is something you can easily make as part of maybe your Friday routine when you're wrapping down work for the week. Think through the things of what did I really enjoy that I did this week? What did I not enjoy that I did this week? And what are those things that I still am neutral on? And start filling that out for you. At the end of the day, there is no one that is going to be able to tell you what role is the right role for you except for you. Your leader cannot tell you this. And I know that often people sit down and they look to their leader to give them the answer to that question, to say, yes, this is the role that you need to apply for. I can guarantee that you're going to get the role and that you're going to enjoy it, but your leader can't do that for you. Your leader can give you guidance based on the things that they've observed and the different conversations that you have had with them, but they don't have the answer. You are the only one that is going to be able to answer for you, what is your next right move? And you're the only one that's going to know what are the things that truly light you up, that you're really going to enjoy, and how you can find that next role that best supports what you want to do professionally and in your work, and how that is going to support or not support your life. I hope that you have found this helpful today, and I hope you take that career clarity tool and you start using it for yourself. If you find that as you're working through it, you're getting stuck, or there are different things that are coming up for you, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about it, and we can help work through that together. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to this week's episode. And until next time, lead with confidence and show up every day as the leader you are striving to be. Thanks for listening to A Leader's Journey podcast. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you're excited to learn more, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and tune in next week for another exciting leadership lesson. I'd love to help you level up your leadership, achieve the goals you desire, and design your unique leadership journey. So click the link in the show notes to schedule a free Level Up Your Leadership session. During this time, we will define where you are in several key areas of leadership, where you desire to be, and how you can level up your leadership. You don't need to do this alone, so let's chat today and get your journey started. Don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn or in the A Leader's Journey community on Facebook, and share this episode with another leader so we can all learn and grow together. That's all for this episode, and I'll see you next week. Until then, lead with confidence, show up every day as the leader you are striving to be, and make the decision today to level up your leadership this year.